The Sharks are taking forever to get an Erik Karlsson deal done, and I'm half expecting to be in dust form like at the end of an Indiana Jones movie by the time it's finally finished. By the way, not a sponsor, more than happy to work with you, however, Harrison Ford. So I present to you 3 trade possibilities for the 3 teams that have been linked to Karlsson the most: the Canes, the Pens, and the Leafs. Let's start off with the Canes, as this may be the actual move that happens. The Canes have the most assets in terms of draft capital to trade and the most cap space among teams looking for EK. One possible trade I've heard: the Canes get Karlsson with 25% retained, and the Sharks acquire, previously talked about, Brett Pesce, Tara Väinen, Antti Ranta, along with a first, 2 seconds, and a third in next year's draft. Now, that does seem kinda steep, but the move would clear about $11 million from Carolina's books, while taking on Karlsson at only 8.65 once that 25% is retained, which would leave Carolina with about $4 million to work with, potentially to sign Tarasenko. Carolina's got to be a cup favorite next year. I think it's time for them to load up and do whatever they can. This trade would also help the Sharks get draft assets, which they're going to need for their rebuild. The biggest hangups? Well, Tara Väinen and Pesce both have modified no trade clauses, but the rumor is that Pesce at least may be willing to waive his. However, both these guys have just a year left on their deals. Maybe they won't be sticking around San Jose for a while and could be prime candidates to be flipped before the playoffs. Next up is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sort of the same thing as Carolina. As Crosby is healthy and still playing, the Penguins are going to want to compete. One of the deals I've heard, pretty similar: Granlund, Jan Ruda, Casey DeSmith, Owen Pickering, and a first, second, and third in 2024. And this is again where I think like Karlsson is being a little overvalued because of one great year, both offensively and pretty good defensively if you look at team scoring when he's on and off the ice. Owen Pickering, you might as well consider him to be a first round draft pick still, and that's sort of how Pittsburgh could get away with sending less actual draft capital. If he can pull something off like this, it would certainly be a big shakeup move by Dubas in his first season with Pittsburgh, but always easier said than done. Finally, we have Shanaplan and the Leafs. So far, Tree Living has given out lots of money, and the Leafs are way over the cap with changes to be made. Maybe this helps them get there. If the Leafs don't think they're going to be able to clear cap to sign Nylander, they might want to get him involved in a trade, as crazy as that sounds. Perhaps alongside maybe Timothy Liljegren, Matt Murray, maybe even a 2024 first. Nylander gets to go to San Jose, where he's paid and gets to be the main option, while also getting a change of scenery. The Leafs would also probably be happy to get away from Murray's contract. One that I've seen all over Twitter that I also don't really get is salary retained Karlsson 1-for-1 for Marner, but with Murray also attached there. That would take the Leafs very close to being cap compliant and frees up some money for Nylander. My problem with all these trades is that if last year turns out to be an anomaly and Karlsson regresses to how he's been playing previously, these look like some of the worst trades in NHL history. I personally think that Karlsson's contract is just way too unwieldy. There's probably going to need to be a third team brought in for extra retaining, but do you like any of these trades, or will Karlsson just be a Shark by this time next year? Honestly, right now, that's my prediction, but let me know your thoughts down below.